welcome to episode, I totally forgot to look up which episode it is, 43, 44 of the podcast. I'm Annalisa, your host for today and always, and a very, very warm welcome from my comfy chair to hopefully yours. This is the Making Stories podcast. We here at Making Stories are all about knitting sustainably, and we do that through providing you with beautifully curated, sustainably produced yarns and a biannual knitting magazine and tons of content on the blog and on this podcast about what we like to knit, pattern recommendations, what's actually on our needles, how to make things that fit and that you'll wear for years to come. And this is the first episode of 2023 and we're off to a great start. So yeah, hop on in, grab a seat, grab your current work in progress, grab a cup of coffee, maybe, my drink of choice, and settle in for the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I have 3 different segments for today. First, we're going to start with knitting because I've been knitting a ton over the last few weeks that we haven't seen each other. Let me actually just double check that it's recording. It is recorded. That would have been funny now. So we'll start with the knitting. And then I'm going to give a quick update on what's been happening behind the scenes here at Making Stories. And last but not least, we'll talk a little bit about shop news. Yeah, knitting. So, I have 2 works in progress that I'm going to show you. One is pretty close to the finishing line, but it's kind of been put aside because I honestly can't stop knitting on the second one. So we'll talk about the first one first. And that is one where I feel a little bit bad that I haven't really shown that much of it in progress, especially on Instagram. Like that's usually where I share, more frequent work in progress updates, at least in stories. But this one honestly felt like a slog for a very long time. And then all of a sudden it was done. And it was like, what is this? And I showed it when it was blocking and someone actually commented on it. So I showed it in stories. Someone commented on the story and said, how is this done? Like you cast this on like a few weeks ago and we haven't really seen it since. I was like, yeah, that's not the whip's fault, that's mine. So I am talking about my Washington cardigan that I am knitting in Hudson and West's Forge, the worsted weight, in the colorway Dusk. And this is going to be a very cozy, cocoon-like cardigan. If I remember, I'm going to insert a little picture of it here. I can't promise that I remember though, because my brain is all over the place these days. But you'll probably be able to see it also from this. So, what do I actually start with? Let's start with where I am with the project, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's left to do and interesting bits and pieces. So, I am at the point where I need to seam a little bit and then I need to pick up some, like armhole bands essentially and the neckband or, yeah, whatever, hem neckband, shawl color kind of thing and knit those and then it's done. I am making this to wear over long sleeve t-shirts to throw on as like a really comfy cozy cardigan, and a good part of that comfy coziness is the garter rich texture that we have here. So you always have portions of stockinette interspersed with single or double garter rich lines, which makes it really, really squishy and really quite nice. Now, this thing looks freaky as fuck. So, if let me just show it to you. So this just looks like one piece of a sweater, right? Yeah. You fold it And all of a sudden, it becomes a cardigan. So I really like the construction on this one. It's really, really clever. Let me just show you. Okay, so here is where I'm going to seam. So this is going to be the side, and I'm going to seam to sort of up until here. And then this part is going to be the armhole, and that also gets a little bit of garter stitch love. This here is the front, and here at the edge of the front, there's going to be another garter band. And yeah, then you have the same thing on the other side, essentially. And it's fascinating construction. It starts off like a shawl with a garter tab cast on here, and then you increase like you would with a traditional triangular shawl. And at some point you start picking up tons of stitches for a little bit of shaping, not picking up stitches, you start casting on stitches for a bit of sort of like gentle shoulder shaping here that will then later on create the fold line in the shoulders. And then at some point, and honestly, I mean, my mind doesn't work 3D, right? Like, so I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't actually know how this worked and what I did. At some point, you then put a portion of the stitches on hold for both fronts and for one back, and then you just work one back. So you just decrease here, and then you work the other one. And what my mind doesn't really understand anymore is, I think you work together until here. So you basically have like a triangular shawl. Okay, this is like really hard to show. Okay, this is really hard to show. What I want to show you is that you work until here. Basically, you have a triangular shawl if the triangle is pointing that way. And then you just work on that top of the triangle, and you do this on both sides. And you do something similar then for the fronts as well. So yeah, at the end you're left with this huge, almost schlanklet-like thing, which, as I said, now needs seaming and some finishing love, and then it will be ready to wear. And I'm really excited. I think this is going to be exactly what I wanted, which is a cozy cardigan to throw on in the house, in the office, after yoga, just over, maybe a pair of skinny jeans or leggings and a long sleeve t-shirt. And I was really enjoying it. Like, it was the perfect, almost mindless, but still engaging that I needed over the holiday season. So yay, 2 thumbs up for that. I will say that I made a modification to the increases and decreases. So if you are curious, we do carry the pattern. It's a Washington Cardigan by illitilli on our website. And we also carry the yarn for that, Hudson and West Forge. If you make it, or if you get the pattern, you'll see that it calls for a ton of backward loop cast-ons, which I don't get why anyone does that, except for very rare occasions or like specific occasions when you need to cast on a few stitches, at the underarm or stuff, but not for a regular increase. It just kind of interrupts the knitting flow. So I replace them with regular make one lefts, make one rights, and it looks brilliant. So yay, 2 thumbs up for that as well. Okay, let me look at my little cheat sheet. All right, next up, sip of coffee. So, when that was done and on the drying mat, I cast something on that I talked about in my last podcast episode, and it's still living in my beautiful Harriet Wildwood Stitches project bag. It's going to outgrow it very soon. And this is what I've been exclusively knitting on for the last, let's say, like week and a half. It's the Gentle Lopi Tunic by Melody Hoffmann, Bee Mandarins, in a yarn that is coming to the shop next week on January 20th. Wool Dreamers Manchelopis. They're amazing unspun yarn. And honestly, this project is just, it's so good. I should have just knit for like half more row. So the Gentle Lopi Tunic is a top-down raglan sweater with a really oversized fit. And some lovely sleeve shaping, so you have like really voluminous sleeves that then taper down, and at the end there are going to be some braids embroidered, crocheted on at the neckline and the hem and the cuffs. It's a brilliant pattern for anyone who's never knit with Unspun before. I had a love-hate relationship with Unspun before I started this project, I'm not gonna lie. I know that a ton of you love Unspun, which was one of the major reasons why I decided that we're going to stock an Unspun yarn. Because we're making stories not just about the yarns that I love, right? Like, but I also want to make, I want to put the things in the shop that you love. But I was like, I wish I could fall in love with it. I have fallen so hard. And I'm not sure what it is, whether it is that I'm knitting with 2 strands at a time, or whether it is that this yarn is just a lot less prone to breaking than the unspuns that I've tried before. But I seriously can't wait to wear this. It's going to be such a great wardrobe staple. And I wanted this specifically. It's sort of like the comfy sweater cousin of the Washington Cardigan to wear over leggings and skinny jeans. Can you sense the theme here? I kind of can. Yeah, and it's absolutely, it's just really, it's really lovely. It's a really, 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 just a really enjoyable, lovely knit. Let me show you the texture a little bit more. So this colorway is Gris Medio, so medium gray, and it is a brownish gray. Coincidentally, a little bit more, well, not super similar. Kind of thought a little, like, quite similar in terms of tones, but this is a bit colder, the sweater that I'm wearing. And I am sort of 3/4 through my first plate, so we'll see. I'm also just really curious to see how many plates in the end I'll need. I still have a bit more to go on the raglan increases, and then it's going to be the dividing for the sleeves and the body. I'm knitting this on 5mm needles, which is half a needle size smaller than the pattern calls for, but I got gauge with this, so it's good, and I swatched. And I was very happy that I got gauge with it, because I realized that my trusted set of Chaogu needles doesn't come with anything larger than a 5mm needle. So yeah, very happy with that. And it really gives a really nice fabric. And the yarn. Oh, one of the things that I wanted to show you is this is the original cake, and as you can see, there are 2 strands already wound on the cake, which is really brilliant, because a lot of the patterns for unspun yarn, I've been saving a ton of patterns for unspun yarn, they call for holding it double. So that's one of the really good advantages of the Manchelopis that I had not realized before I opened the box. So yeah, but I'm telling you now, so you then know. So Gentle Lopi Tunic by Bee Mandarins, Melody Hoffmann, in Wool Dreamers Manchelopis, colorway Gris Medio, coming to the shop on January 20th. More on that a little bit later in this episode, because first I want to talk about 2 exciting print things. So not earlier this year, that's nonsense. Last year, when I talked about not being able to pay myself publicly, Janne Graf, the wonderful editor from the German version of the knitting magazine, The Knitter, reached out to me. Janne has done smaller features on us before, and she asked if I would be interested in having a portrait or an interview in an upcoming issue. And I said, yes, absolutely. So in October, we had 2 long phone calls, and Janne wrote the most amazing article about making stories and about me. And it just came out on January 4th in the current version of the Knitter. This is the German version. And it's even on the cover. Goes under Garn Report, Hannalisa Haferkamps nachhaltige Garne. And it's one of 2 feature articles, which I hadn't realized. I was like, wow, that's so cool. I should have just put a bookmark in this before. So this is it. 2 pages, lots of beautiful pictures, a wonderful headline, nachhaltig, transparent und pleite, basically says sustainable, transparent, and broke, which is essentially what the article is about. It's like how hard it can be to actually run a sustainable small business. And it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Janne did a wonderful, wonderful job. And I'm so grateful to her that, I got to do the interview and she made this amazing piece about me and about us here at Making Stories. So it is sadly only in the German version of the Knitter. But if you are German, you should be able to find that in your well-stocked Bahnhofsbuchhandlung. That's one of the major sources of magazines like that, or any really well-stocked newspaper kiosk should have it as well. You can also get it on craftery.de, I think. I'm not sure if only the German version or only the digital version or also the print version. It also has really beautiful knit designs in it, like seriously beautiful, and a really cool article about the Woolinale, Germany's first knitting graffiti festival that's happening in Cologne. So yeah, I'm in very good company here, and I'm very grateful to Janne for interviewing me and for giving me the opportunity to tell our story. Continuing on to the print journey, I just wanted to quickly share with you that earlier this week, I did something really exciting. I got up super early and went to the print start of issue 9 with our new printer, Königsdruck, and got back with a little bit of body paper and a copy of the cover, and it was an absolutely super fascinating trip that I talk a lot more about in detail in our new collective exclusive video that is all about that experience, and it's available for collective members levels full skein and sweater quantity. So if you are one of those, head over to your collective membership area and click on the latest blog post and then watch the video. If you aren't a collective member yet, maybe you'd like to become one. It's our monthly membership, and we have 3 different levels: mini skein, full skein, sweater quantity, that all come with different perks. I'll link to it in the down bar below. If you are curious about, the printing process, why we changed printers, why we changed paper, head over there and listen to me talk about it. So that brings me to the last section of the podcast, which is shop news. Dip, 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 dip. As I already said like 15 times in this episode, we are launching Wool Dreamers Manchelopis on January 20th. Manchelopis is... I'm sorry, I'm just laughing so hard. So usually the cakes, plates, however you want to call them, are a little bit in less disarray. This is one that our little one has played with, so that's not going to get sold, yeah? But like, just know that that's because Oren played with it. I can't blame him though, it's so squishy. So, Manchelopis coming to the shop on January 20th. We'll have all of the colors that they have available in stock. I was not sure how many of you want how much, so I ordered smaller quantities of every single color so that, you know, I can see which ones are popular, which ones are selling fast, and then reorder accordingly. They have they don't have that long delivery time, so I felt comfortable doing that. That being said, if you have your eye on a particular colorway, which will reveal over the next few days over on Instagram, I would recommend checking out the Manchelopi launch rather quickly. As usual, collective members, again, levels full skin and sweater quantity, you get early access, so prepare for an email in your inbox with when exactly that's going to go live. Most likely it's going to be at 9 a.m. and the official launch will be at 10 a.m. So yeah, I'm really excited. There's also a particular reason why the launch is happening on January 20th that I don't think I'm allowed to talk about yet. You might want to keep an eye on the Wool Dreamers Instagram to see if there's anything that they announce. So yeah, hint, hint. What I can announce though is that in the next week, I will also be publishing 2 blog posts to accompany the launch. One will be with pattern inspiration. So as I said, I've bookmarked a ton of patterns for Unspun yarns that I'm really excited about to share with you. If you've knit with Unspun yarns and you have a favorite pattern, drop it in the comments below. I love, love, love hearing your pattern recommendations. The second blog post that I'm writing is how to knit with Unspun yarn, because I was like, how do I knit with it? And it's not difficult, let me tell you that first. But I found a few things have really helped with making the knitting experience as enjoyable as possible. And I want that for you too. And I've also already had quite a few questions around how to knit with it, you know? Does it break often? What do you do when it breaks? Things like that. So I'll be writing a blog post about all of those questions as well. If you have any questions about knitting with Unspun yarn, or if you have any tips about knitting with Unspun yarn, also drop them in the comments down below, because they'll then for sure get integrated into the blog post. Also, very good head. Yeah, that's silly me. So yeah, mark your calendars, January 20th, Manchelopis launch. And that's it from me for today, I think. Yes, my list of things that I wanted to talk about also says that. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of 2023. Yeah, do let me know what you want to see from us in this year. What else? Nothing else, I don't think. Thank you so much. Stay safe, and I'll see you again in this space in 2 weeks. Bye.